Tennessee right now and several southern states right now are engaged in a incredibly racist effort. It's not just an effort. It is, well, I guess you could call it an effort and a successful effort for them to basically disenfranchise black voters in the state. Yesterday was an absolutely horrific moment in the Tennessee legislature. We're going to see this in South Carolina soon. We've seen it already in Louisiana. We're going to see it in Mississippi. Black voters in these states, thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court, aka thanks to the village idiot Donald Trump, because he originally pushed, this gerrymandering effort in Texas, and he's been pushing it across the board everywhere, and because he's a racist creep himself. But thanks to these racists, because you have to call it out for what it is. It is nothing else. We now have the Tennessee. We now have these frustrating images these videos coming out from. We had them from Louisiana. We have it from Tennessee right now. I want to play this. This happens to be on PBS right now. This is after the Tennessee legislature, the white-controlled Tennessee legislature, the white racist-controlled Tennessee legislature, the supermajority gerrymandered white racist-controlled Tennessee legislature officially passed legislation that allows them to gerrymander the only black represented district in the entire state. And what they're going to do is they're going to split the city of Memphis up into multiple pieces. And splitting Memphis up into multiple pieces then allows them to have white representation throughout all of Tennessee. It's despicable. It's disgusting. It's Jim Crow racist. It's the KKK. I don't know what year it was. I can't remember. 18. I don't know, and I should. But the KKK was birthed, in the state of Tennessee. And now the ugly history of that state, the, profane, racist history that we would hope that angry, white, immature racist in Tennessee would have eventually, over the generations, grown out of. And the Texas state legislature, it's the Tennessee state legislature, and the governor of Tennessee have shown us that they have not grown out. They haven't matured emotionally enough to evolve beyond hate, beyond ignorance, beyond blaming others for their own inadequacies, for their own failures. The heart of so much of today's racism here in the United States is a pushback, a direct pushback against white mediocrity, against white unexceptionalism. And that is indicative of the fact that Donald Trump, the most unexceptional, racist white man that we potentially have in the United States, was elevated twice to the presidency of the United States. And in doing that, he made it clear to folks all across America, racists all across America, that you can be unexceptional. You can have no merit. You can be the polar opposite of Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, in the sense the polar opposite being white, untalented, unintelligent, unintelligible, earning nothing in your life. And instead of owning that reality and taking accountability for your shortcomings and your weaknesses, and the fact that you, as an angry white person, have placed yourself in a position to be less than, having had every opportunity in the world, and that folks who have been repressed for generations have succeeded and have elevated themselves up to the point where we had a black president, Barack Obama. And the angry, racist portion of America has been enraged since Barack Obama became president of the United States. And I feel that in a lot of ways, this is the ultimate revenge. First, it was elevating a white racist creep moron to be president of the United States, and they were able to achieve that with the ignorance and the stupidity of non-racist America. Self-interested, spoiled, non-racist America. Because things got a little hard. Things got a little bit difficult. In 2016, Hillary wasn't likable enough. She wasn't pleasant enough. And she was too much of a woman. So instead, to try to make things a little bit easier, we elected an incompetent white racist lunatic. Staggering. Staggering. And so the ultimate, now we're at a point where the racist community, because the non-racist community got a little, the entitled non-racist community, too many of us got a little too uncomfortable in 2016, electing a woman who didn't seem likable enough, although she is brilliant, right? And experienced. And then because Joe Biden wasn't able to single-handedly reduce just grocery prices, just the fucking price of eggs. Joe Biden was not able to just reduce the price of eggs. I mean, in essence, wasn't that what it was all about? And the fact that Kamala was a woman of color. But because the entitled America was just a little too uncomfortable, that bird flu was exacerbating the price of your eggs, that was a little uncomfortable. So therefore, we blamed it on the brown people coming in from Mexico, which the village idiot, the racist, exploited, and we elected the imbecile again. And now, right, the ultimate revenge, I truly believe this, the ultimate revenge of racist America, which was getting that idiot elected twice, now the next level of it is to completely disenfranchise black voters everywhere and anywhere they can. Allow the dark, slimy, salacious underbelly of abject racism that we eventually achieved to the point where it had to hide under a rock, allowed that slithering wretch to be able to slither its way out from underneath those rocks. And now let's have it in full view, right? Congratulations, America. Let's bring back Jim Crow 2.0 in the digital age. Yippee, yippee, yippee. What a disgrace. And now we're seeing that play out thanks to the Supreme Court that the village idiot Donald Trump put in place because Republicans cheated, starting with Mitch McConnell and Merrick Garland during Obama's reign, during Obama's presidency. Now it brings us to this moment. This moment where America should be ashamed of itself. Where America is able to rediscover its profane wretchedness. And it's a disgusting moment, what had to transpire in Louisiana, what transpired yesterday in Tennessee, what we're going to see transpire in Mississippi, what we're going to see transpire in South Carolina after the 2026 election, what we're going to see transpire in racist red states all around the country. What a disgrace. What an embarrassment. And if you made the choice to vote for that idiot and to support this madness, then you really need to, and if you consider yourself not to be a racist, you really need to rethink your political, emotional, and personal priorities when you go to the ballot box and you vote. I'm not telling you to be ashamed of yourself. I'm telling you to rethink these priorities when you go to vote in November in these elections, especially if you're a non-disenfranchised white citizen in one of these newly gerrymandered districts. You need to rethink your priorities. And if you haven't done it, you need to face up to it. You need to face the ugly truth of the choices that you made. And I'm not telling you need to make penance or anything like that, but you need to rethink your priorities. And I hope you have the courage to do that. And without further ado, let's watch this.
Representative Martin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's remind ourselves that while we're here in this special session...
Mr. Trooper, please go out that balcony over there. Please go out the balcony.
Mr. Speaker, I yield the
Now, obviously, that goes on for a bit longer, but I think you get the point, right? I think you get the point. You know, what you just watched was we could have gone back 75 years, 50 years. Could have gone back. Maybe we're heading back to the 1800s because that's what you just saw. Because this doesn't end with, you know, what the Republicans, what the racists are referring to as partisan gerrymandering. What the Supreme Court allowed, what the white nationalist creep, the racist Supreme Court Justice Alito said in his. It doesn't end with what he said in his opinion, right? It doesn't end there, where he said that you know, I'm sorry, my son was coming in and out of my room and in and out of the office here, and it just kind of threw off my train of thought. It doesn't end where Alito said, well, you know, black people or anyone suing for racial discriminatory gerrymandering in a state don't have standing anymore, in essence. They can just say it's partisan gerrymandering, because that the Supreme Court made completely legal not too long ago, which is disgusting also. But not what he did, and I think it was intentional, because I think Alito wants to bring us back to a time when black people were repressed, completely repressed. Because it doesn't just end at the federal level. Those faces of color that you saw in this video right now in that state legislature in Tennessee, who were standing up and shouting down those abject, half-witted, salivating, racist creeps. Those brave people, those dignified people, those people of honor who you saw standing up and trying to shout down, those legislators, if we are not able to reverse this, their faces will not be there in the state legislature in the future. Those people will not be there in the state legislature in the future. Let me make that clear. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop at they're not going to stop. I'm sorry, my wife's just in here and it's throwing me off. I'm sorry. They're not going to stop at congressional seats. They're going to push forward, and they're going to try to erase the black faces from the state legislature. If we're not able to reverse this trend, and I think we can, because I think it's a different world than it was, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. It's even a different world than it was 25 years ago. But that white power that is now going to be entrenched in the state legislature, that is going to box out black congressional representation at the federal level, will subsequently use that same power they have, whether it be through gerrymandering or intimidation, which would include doxing, which would include physical threats on the internet, potential violence. But that same effort will be used to push those faces of color out of the state legislature. So you have a lily white legislature in state legislature in Texas and Mississippi and South Carolina and Louisiana. And then what do you get? And don't think this can't or won't happen. Then what do you get? Then you get state level Jim Crow laws enacted by a racist, entirely white state legislature. You get repression within the state. Do you think, I'm being hyperbolic, or I'm being an extremist, or I'm being, an overthinking liberal when I say that this is a first step back to the days of intentionally segregated schools, of people of color? It won't just be black people now, though, because these people, these racists hate them. Black people, all people of color, Latinos, people who are Asian, Americans. Will they be having to sit on the back of the bus? Will they now have to sit on the back of the train? Are we eventually going to go back to the point where we have, white public bathrooms and public bathrooms for people of color in the South and Republican states? Sounds ridiculous, right? America can't go back there. That's asinine, Mitch. What's the matter with you, Mitch? Don't take this further than this is. This is just gerrymandering so Republicans can win, so the village idiot Donald Trump, that jackass, and Republicans around him can retain control of Congress, control of the House, because they can't win on the merits and nobody will elect them. That's all this is. Yeah, it's racist, but that's all this is. That's all this is. No. That's not all this is. Because I don't think if you would have gone back 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, you could have told me, none of us would have believed that this day would come. That this day, if I would have told you 3 or 4 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, if I would have told you that we would have to see protesters, white protesters and protesters of color, white state legislatures, black state legislatures, Latino state legislators in southern states, that we would have to see them aggressively and to a certain extent helplessly trying to do whatever they can to interrupt proceedings that would a vote, a blatantly racist vote, unconstitutionally at the state level, that would force a mid-decade redistricting, so that they would cut out all black representation in the state. If I would have told you that 3 or 4 years ago, you would have been like, come on, Mitch. Seriously? That's not going to happen. Stop it. It happened. If that happened, and they're doing this right in our faces, these racists are not afraid. They cannot be shamed. They're doing this right in our faces. We are seeing it in real time, right? If they cannot be shamed out of it, if they wear their racist vitriol proudly on their chest, we have a fucking Secretary of Defense right now who has a white nationalist tattoo on his chest. So come on. This will happen. This is not something, and I'm speaking to my community because I know there are some of us that don't want to hear this. It's too fucking ugly. We don't want to see it. We don't want to face this. And look, I talk about the easy stuff. Making fun of the village idiot Donald Trump, that's the easy stuff to talk about. We're all on the same page with that, right? None of us fucking voted for him, right? Making fun of, talking about the war or the ceasefire with the Iranians as this fucking idiot is getting managed Jews manipulated and abused by the Iranians because he's such a moron, by the Israelis, by the Russians, by the Chinese, by everybody around him who wants something from him because he's so dumb. That's the easy stuff to talk about. Talking about the fact that, we have chicken shit GOP senators and crazy and pretend crazy Republican members of the House and the crazy, stupid things they do. Talking about all of that, that's the easy stuff. Because we're in agreement on that. But this harder stuff that we have to act on, and we have to act on now. We have a country right now that is at a tipping point. And that tipping point is that good is winning, that duality and plurality and diversity is winning politically, that election after election after election, Democrats and pro-democracy folks are winning. Because the Republicans are so disgusting, because they're so bad, because they're so egregious, that the loudest Republican voices are the cronies and the goons and the ass kissers and the people who make shit up, the conspiracy theorists and all those wackos on Fox News and everyone else. They're loud and they're all over the internet, but nobody gives a fuck anymore. That even large influencers within their own communities, the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons and the Megyn Kellys, are fed up with them. We're on the precipice of saving democracy. But at the same time, we have a big institutional structural problem all around the country. And that fucking structural problem is that the losers, the extremists, the racists, the incompetent, meritless fools that are currently losing politically are in charge. The inmates are running the fucking asylum. Donald Trump is still the president of the United States. He still is in control of the military. Pete Drunken Hegseth is still the Secretary of Defense. Todd Blanche, that dipshit, is still the acting Attorney General. And these red states, these racist red states that not even the Voting Rights Act could completely push them into a box. You know, if you have Louisiana, where you have 33% of the Louisiana population is black, and they had a total of 2 representation in 2 out of 6 districts, and now they're not going to have one. I mean, now they're going to have one, and soon they're going to have none. Right? The inmates are running the asylum in Louisiana. I don't think all of Louisiana are racist creeps, but the inmates who are running the asylum are the incompetent toads who you wouldn't hire to walk your fucking dog, but for whatever reason, they were elected into positions of power. You know, they're running the asylum. So although on the one hand, we have the wind at our backs because Donald Trump is so bad and so many Democratic candidates are so good, on the other hand, we have this autocratic, racist, structural dilemma where the inmates, the crazies, the racists are running the asylum. And this is a hard thing to talk about because we're all it's hard for me to talk about because I'm asking you to do something. I'm asking you not just to watch this video. I'm asking you to do something. And that's a lot because everybody's doing everything right now. You got to work. You got to take care of your kids. You got to try to figure out how to get by. You got to try to figure out how to keep your sanity when the world is falling apart because this madman is in control of the country and idiots surrounding him are working with him. You got to deal with your own emotions. I mean, look at my life. I've got, a mom who is 88 years old, a dad who's 91. They need help. I have 2 in-laws, in 87 and 80. I have a 10-year-old kid. I have a more than full-time job doing social media. My wife, she has her job, her full-time job at a hospital. Plus, she's a social media wellness influencer. Plus, we got to go to play dates and activities and live. How the fuck am I going to do anything else? How the fuck am I going to stand up and help fix this racist shit in the South that we're going to see all over the country? I don't know. I'm going to do what I'm doing now, but I got to do more. I got to get out there. Maybe become a poll worker for the next election. You don't have any time. I get it. But we need you. Why do we need you to be a poll worker in the next election? Because right now in Fulton County, Georgia, remember several months ago, the FBI, Trump's deranged fucking Kash Patel, ridiculous FBI, raided the county clerk's office in Fulton County, Georgia. You remember that? And they stole 700 boxes worth of ballots to prove that, to have some phony criminal investigation into the 2020 election because the village idiot Donald Trump still insisted, I won the election fair. I wanted Biden was terrible. Right? And they're actively using the Department of Justice. Well, guess what else they're doing? Now, from a Trump toady, U.S. attorney, unqualified, unfit moron that was put into the position is subpoenaing the Fulton County, Georgia county clerk's office from fucking North Carolina. Who the fuck is he? Right? Subpoenaing them for the personal information of poll workers, people who, basically work for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week and a half. Senior citizens, who are just trying to, fill their retirement by participating in democracy, work in the polls, making sure everybody gets to vote. helping with the vote counts, parents and whoever else that are taking a day off of work or 2 days off of work so they can participate in democracy. People who maybe, need $50 or $100 once or twice a year, then they get paid to do this, right? Those patriots, those honest, innocent people who just showed up to fucking do a day or two or a week's work. Guess what? The U.S. Department of Justice, the village idiot, this asshole in North Carolina, of all places, is subpoenaing, demanding their email addresses, first names, last names, physical addresses of their homes, phone numbers. What the fuck does he need that for? He needs that because they want to dox them. They want to put that information out there, so they want to leak that shit so all of the racist and creeps and animals on the internet who want to terrorize them, and God forbid do worse, terrorize them through internet pressure and threats and everything else on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, X, whatever it is. Substack, whatever, every internet outlet, we terrify them, pressure them, phone call them, make their lives horrible, but most of all, make them quit the job. Scare them out of being poll workers. Scare them out of being poll workers in Georgia. It's an incubator program for the racist GOP in Georgia. And if it works there, if Georgia can't get itself enough poll workers and it sends the 2026 midterm elections into chaos, that's what authoritarians like. That's what allows them to help to be able to determine the outcome of the vote before the vote ever happens. That's what allows them to be able to, if Georgia works and they do it all over the country and they're able to nationalize that in all red states, they'll use that as a precursor to try to nationalize the elections. We're not going to let it happen. I don't want you to be afraid by me telling you this. We're not going to let it happen. But for fuck's sake, you got to do something. If I'm a little bit more animated in this particular early morning live, I apologize. I'm not yelling at you. I swear to God, I'm yelling with you because I know you're broken. I know, the country has asked too much of you, all of you, for those of us that have stood up to Donald Trump since the beginning. And those of us have come around later and stood up. Or if you just recognize you were a MAGA follower and you woke up yesterday because your generation's old farm, you lost it because of the fucking soybeans. And you finally realized the brainwashing, that you've been brainwashed and you woke up. Whatever it is, we're all asking influencers and Democratic politicians, and we're asking too much of you. I get it. Now we're asking you to stand up for Black America because it's in red states, because Black America in red states is about to be erased. It's too much, but you have to do it. You have to do it right now. My friends, the wind is at our sails right now. We are looking at a massive electoral blue wave. Don't buy into all that bullshit you're hearing from the media or even from Democratic legislators who are so used to losing, who are so consistently comfortable losing, so worried about calling the race wrong. The media that is so worried about calling the race wrong. That's what happened in 2016. They fucked up. We all thought Hillary was going to win and Trump won. And ever since then, we've all been terribly shy about calling what we see. We're winning. The reality is the metrics, the data, the best data of election outcomes are fucking elections. And we've won every goddamn election of note since that idiot was inaugurated for a second time on January 2025. Every fucking election that matters. And even the ones we've lost, we've overperformed. Democrats have overperformed, sometimes 20, 30%. The wind is at our sails, America. We can break this MAGA, racist, nonsensical, structural advantage they have because they are politically done. But we have to do shit. The thing that Michelle Obama called on all of us to do for the 2024 election was do something. Do something. And we were all mad at Michelle because she told us previously when they go low, we go high. And we held it against her. We all did. We all did. I get it, because we should have never gone high with it. We should have gone lower when they went low. I wasn't the, the asshole influencer when Michelle told us, when we go low, they go high. And I should have been. I was nice. I was reasonable. I was afraid to be this, right? But it's not Michelle's fault. And we were all mad at Michelle. And when Michelle called us out at the Democratic convention before the 2024 election, and she told us, do something. She pleaded with us. I didn't get it because I didn't see what she saw bubbling under the surface. As a Black American, Michelle saw this coming and I was ignoring it. I didn't want to see it because it was too fucking ugly. Well, now it's here and it's in my face and I did nothing. I mean, I did this. I was on social and I was pushing, but I didn't do anything other than that. Now, I think we, echoing Michelle's words, do something. Do something. And there's a lot to be done. Anyway, guys, just a quick live today. I'm sorry I was on a bit of a rant, but this situation it's unthinkable. I just want to bring up the live because I haven't even seen who's here. All right, guys. So now I have the live up. I still can't. I'm chuckling. I think because I think it's like a counter mechanism in my brain that I've learned when I get too twisted and I get too worked up and I get almost emotional about things. I always rely on comedy to help me deal with fear and pain and anger. And although this is not comical the way I'm reacting, I've noticed online when I get completely worked up, I almost force a fake laugh in, and it just kind of I'm doing it right now, and it's just a weird mechanism that I've sort of created. It kind of brings me back down. It kind of lowers the cortisol levels, and it's like taking a deep breath or meditating, of which I do too. You wouldn't know it. But anyway, guys, I'm so sorry. I can't see who's here. I can see that there's 7 of you here, but I can't see who you are. That's just the way the chat works. Anyway, just a little bit of stuff here to get you up to date on what the day is going to look like. This is my early morning live. I'm going much earlier. I'm going to try to do an early morning live regularly. Try to squeeze it in. And of course, you're seeing the recording on YouTube right now as well, or if you're watching the recording on Substack. I'm going to post that in just a bit. The normal 10:15 a.m. live is going to have to be rescheduled a little bit later in the day. I've just got some stuff I have to do with my wife this morning. So that's going to take us a few hours, and I just unfortunately can't work around it. It's not. We have a car lease that is up in a month, and the cars have been so fucking expensive. Like, we haven't wanted to lease another car. And then our second car, that's our Toyota RAV4. Our second car is a 2003 Toyota Camry. God bless it. It's got over 250,000 miles on it, and it's an incredible car, but it's just done. Like, there's nothing left. And we have to go to a dealer today, which is always a nightmare. And we've got to, I don't know how the fuck we're going to do this because the cars are so expensive. But we have to just suck it up and figure out a way to lease 2 cars and figure out a way to pay for it. Oh, hey, Gamer. I can see Gamer and Jordan. Hey, guys, how are you? So, and again, I know there's more folks here. I'm sorry, I can't see you. The live chat isn't showing me everybody else. So, unfortunately, my wife and I have to do that. It's a necessary evil. And you'd think that would be something to celebrate. We're going to go at least 2 cars. It's not, because we can't afford them. But we have to do it. So we're going to try to be positive about it. So anyway, follow-up live will be a little bit later today. And I guess that's it. But now that I've kind of calmed myself down, I apologize. I didn't mean to yell at you, and I hope you didn't perceive it that way. I feel like I was hopefully yelling with you, but we're at a turning point now where we can win, and we can win big, or they can win, and we're in that moment. But we're going to win. This will not stand. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 live, or in this case, 1 recording at a time, depending on how you're watching this. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hang in there. There's a lot of other news to cover later in the day. Have a good morning, everybody.